Have you ever opened your banking app, looked at the number on the screen, and immediately felt a strange mixture of confusion and mild panic, wondering exactly where all your money actually went this month?
Oh, that feeling is way too familiar, honestly. It's like my money has legs and just quietly walks itself out of my account while I'm not paying attention.
No problem. Welcome to Joobira Zone, everyone.
Welcome back. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Maya, and today we're talking about something that genuinely affects every single person listening, no matter where you live or how much you earn: saving money.
Budgeting, spending habits, financial goals, all the vocabulary you actually need to talk about money confidently in English, whether it's with friends, coworkers, or your own bank.
Exactly. And honestly, this is one of those topics that touches almost every part of daily life, even though a lot of people never really learn how to properly discuss it in English.
So let's start with some essential vocabulary, because there's a lot of really useful language here that most learners simply never get exposed to in a normal classroom setting.
First up, a budget. This is basically a plan for how you're going to spend and save your money over a certain period, usually a week or a month.
And to budget as a verb means actively planning your spending in advance rather than just spending randomly and hoping everything somehow works out fine in the end.
Which, let's be honest, is exactly what a lot of us do anyway, hoping everything just magically balances itself out by the end of the month.
Guilty, completely guilty. Okay, next phrase, to live within your means. This means spending only what you can actually afford, not more than your income allows.
And the opposite of that would be to live beyond your means, spending more money than you actually earn, usually by relying heavily on credit cards or borrowed money.
I think almost everyone has lived beyond their means at some point in life, especially in their early 20s when responsibility feels like a distant, abstract concept.
Extremely accurate. Okay, here's a great one. To make ends meet. It means having just enough money to cover your basic needs without necessarily having anything extra left over.
That phrase always sounds a little stressful to me, honestly, like you're barely balancing everything on a very thin, very shaky line.
It really does capture that feeling perfectly. All right, let's talk about actual saving now. To save up for something means putting money aside gradually until you have enough to buy or achieve something specific.
Like, I'm saving up for a new laptop, meaning you're setting money aside little by little until you reach that particular goal.
Exactly. And related to that, a savings account, which is simply a bank account specifically designed for storing money you're not planning to spend immediately.
Do you actually have a solid savings habit, Maya? Or is this one of those areas where you're preaching more than practicing?
Honestly, a little bit of both if I'm being completely transparent with everyone listening right now.
That's a very relatable answer, and probably true for most people listening as well. Okay, here's a really useful phrase, an emergency fund. This is money you save specifically for unexpected situations, like sudden medical expenses or urgent car repairs.
Financial experts often recommend having at least 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in an emergency fund, though honestly, most people, myself included, are nowhere close to that number.
That's such a common gap between financial advice and actual real life. All right, let's talk about spending habits now, because this connects so directly to saving money successfully.
A great phrase here is an impulse purchase, meaning something you buy suddenly without really planning it, usually driven by emotion rather than actual need. I am an absolute expert at impulse purchases. Online shopping apps genuinely know exactly how to get me every single time.
Same, completely. And related to that is the phrase retail therapy, which means shopping specifically to make yourself feel better emotionally rather than because you actually need something.
Retail therapy is such a dangerous, expensive habit, honestly, because it feels wonderful in the exact moment and then genuinely terrible about 2 days later when the credit card statement arrives.
That timeline is painfully accurate. Okay, here's another useful phrase, to cut costs or to cut corners. Both generally mean reducing your spending, often by choosing cheaper alternatives.
Though technically, cutting corners can sometimes have a slightly negative meaning too, suggesting you've reduced quality just to save money, so context really matters there.
That's a great distinction, honestly, because saving money smartly and simply cutting quality carelessly are genuinely two very different things.
All right, before we go any further, if you're genuinely enjoying learning through episodes like this one, please take a moment to hit subscribe. We're building this channel from scratch, and every single subscriber truly helps us keep going.
It really does mean so much. Thank you all sincerely. Okay, let's continue because there's still plenty of valuable vocabulary left to cover in this conversation.
Let's talk about bills and expenses now, because this is such a practical, everyday part of managing money successfully. Fixed expenses are costs that stay the same every month, like rent or a car payment.
And variable expenses are costs that change month to month, like groceries, entertainment, or your electricity bill during different seasons.
There's also the phrase to fall behind on payments, meaning you haven't paid a bill on time, which can quickly lead to extra fees or serious financial stress.
That's genuinely one of the scariest phrases in this entire topic, honestly, because falling behind can spiral so quickly if you're not paying close attention.
Absolutely agreed. On a more positive note, there's the phrase to pay off debt, meaning to gradually eliminate money that you owe until eventually you owe nothing at all.
Paying off debt completely is honestly such a satisfying, freeing feeling. Even just imagining that moment feels genuinely relieving.
It really does. Okay, let's talk about long-term financial goals now, because saving money isn't just about the present moment, it's really about your entire future as well.
A great phrase here is financial security, meaning having enough stable income and savings that you don't need to constantly worry about money.
And related to that, to invest, which means putting your money into something like stocks or property with the expectation that it will grow in value over time.
Investing always sounds intimidating to me personally, mostly because it feels like a whole separate language on top of English itself.
That's such a fair point, honestly. Financial vocabulary really can feel like its own complicated dialect sometimes.
I want to pause here and actually ask our listeners something, because I think this could genuinely spark some interesting answers in the comments below.
Go ahead.
So here's the question for everyone listening right now. What's one money habit you've built that's genuinely made a real difference in your life, even if it seems small when you first started?
That's such a great question, honestly, because small, consistent habits often end up mattering so much more than big, dramatic financial decisions.
Exactly, and we would genuinely love to read your answers because real examples from real people are always the best way to learn vocabulary in a natural, practical context.
All right, let's cover a few more useful phrases before we start wrapping up today's conversation. To splurge means to spend a larger amount of money than usual, typically on something special or indulgent.
Like, I splurged on a really nice dinner for my birthday, meaning you spent more than you normally would just for that particular occasion.
Exactly. And the opposite would be to be frugal, meaning you're careful and economical with your money, avoiding unnecessary spending whenever genuinely possible.
I like to think I'm frugal, though my online shopping cart from earlier might tell a slightly different, more complicated story.
We all have our own personal contradictions when it comes to money, honestly, and that's completely normal.
One more useful phrase, to set financial goals, meaning deciding specifically what you want to achieve with your money, whether that's saving for a house, a trip, or simply building an emergency fund.
Having clear financial goals genuinely makes saving money feel so much more meaningful, rather than just restricting yourself without any real motivating purpose behind it.
Beautifully said, honestly. Okay, let's quickly recap everything we covered in today's episode because there was a genuinely huge amount of useful vocabulary in this one.
We talked about budgeting, living within your means, making ends meet, saving up, savings accounts, emergency funds, impulse purchases, retail therapy, cutting costs, fixed and variable expenses, falling behind on payments, paying off debt, financial security, investing, splurging, being frugal, and setting financial goals.
That is genuinely one of the richest vocabulary lists we've ever created in a single episode, and honestly, I think this might be one of the most useful topics we've covered so far.
I completely agree. So here's your homework for today. Try describing your own money habits using 2 or 3 phrases from today's episode and drop them in the comments below. We would genuinely love to read every single one.
And if today's episode helped you even a little bit, please make sure to subscribe because it truly helps us keep bringing you topics exactly like this one.
We've got so many more exciting topics planned for upcoming episodes, and honestly, we genuinely can't wait to share them with all of you very soon. So take one small step towards your own financial goals today, even a tiny one, and we will see you very, very soon in our next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves, spend wisely, and we'll catch you next time.